He worked day and night to sponsor his girlfriend through university, only for her to call him a poor village boy in front of her friends. Emeka was just a struggling mechanic in the village, but he loved Blessing with all his heart. The day Blessing gained admission into the university, she cried because her family could not afford the fees. Emeka held her hands and said, "Go to school. I will do everything I can to support you." That was how Blessing left for the university. Every semester, Emeka sent Blessing money for her school fees, foodstuffs, and books. Sometimes he even borrowed money just to make sure she stayed in school comfortably. He worked day and night repairing motorcycles and buses under the hot sun while Blessing focused on her studies in the city. At first, Blessing was grateful. She called Emeka every night, she prayed for him, and she always promised him, "When I graduate, we will enjoy together." Those words gave Emeka strength whenever life became difficult. Sometimes customers insulted him at the workshop, sometimes he stayed hungry after sending his last money to Blessing, but he never complained. Whenever his friends mocked him, saying, "You are suffering for a woman that will leave you one day," Emeka would smile and reply, "Not Blessing, she's different." Years passed. Blessing entered her third year in the university and slowly began to change. She started making rich friends, posting expensive restaurants online, wearing designer clothes Emeka could never afford. Then she met Kelvin, a rich young man from the city who drove flashy cars and spent money carelessly. At first, Blessing hid the friendship from Emeka, but gradually, she stopped picking his calls regularly. Her messages became cold. Sometimes she ignored him for days. Still, Emeka continued sending money whenever she asked. One afternoon, Emeka borrowed money again and traveled to her school to surprise her. But the moment Blessing saw him standing near her hostel in his dusty mechanic clothes, her smile disappeared. Unfortunately, Chika, her friends, were standing beside her. Chika looked at Emeka and asked, "Who is this?" Blessing looked embarrassed. Then she forced a laugh and said, "He's just someone from my village." At that moment, Emeka felt his heart shatter. After all the sacrifices, after all the suffering, that was all he became to her, someone from the village. He quietly turned around and left without saying a word. After that day, Emeka stopped calling Blessing. The pain was too much. But deep down, he still loved her and hoped she would one day realize her mistake. Meanwhile, Blessing fully entered her new rich lifestyle with Kelvin. She posted pictures online, went to expensive places, and acted like she had never known struggle before, completely forgetting the man who sacrificed everything for her. Months later, Kelvin decided to follow Blessing to her village during the holiday. As they entered the village in his expensive car, people stared in admiration. Blessing smiled proudly. Kelvin dropped Blessing at her family house before driving off to buy a few things nearby. As he drove through the village, he noticed a small roadside mechanic workshop. A young man was under a motorcycle trying to fix it. Something about the man looked familiar. Kelvin parked immediately and looked closely. "Emeka!" The mechanic quickly stood up in shock. "Kelvin!" The two old secondary school best friends hugged each other excitedly. They had not seen each other since secondary school. Kelvin laughed happily. "Guy, life don't finally separate us, so enter the car make we talk." Emeka smiled and entered the car. Inside, they started talking about old school memories and how life had been treating them. Then Kelvin asked, "So, how far? How's life?" Emeka smiled sadly. "Life is okay, but woman matter dealt with me." Kelvin laughed lightly. "Tell me wetin happen." Emeka sighed deeply before explaining everything. How he trained a girl through university. How he sent her money every semester for school fees, foodstuffs, and books. Sometimes he even borrowed money just to make sure she stayed comfortable in school. Kelvin shook his head in admiration. You really loved her. Emeka nodded slowly. I loved her too much. But after she met one rich guy for school, she denied me. Kelvin frowned angrily. That kind girl wicked. Wetin be her name? Emeka answered quietly. Blessing. Immediately, Kelvin's smile faded. Wait, my girlfriend name na Blessing too. Emeka continued explaining. The university, the betrayal, everything. Kelvin slowly brought out his phone. This girl? The moment Emeka saw the picture, his face changed immediately. Yes, na she. For a few seconds, complete silence filled the car. Kelvin stared at the picture on his phone, then looked at Emeka in disbelief. You mean this same Blessing? Emeka nodded slowly. Yes, na the same girl. Kelvin leaned back quietly, trying to process everything he had just heard. The same woman he was planning a future with was the same woman who betrayed his best friend. And not just any friend, a friend who sacrificed everything for her. Kelvin clenched his jaw angrily. Without saying another word, he started the car and drove straight back to Blessing's house. Inside the house, Blessing was happily chatting with her family, already feeling proud of herself. When she heard Kelvin's car outside, she quickly adjusted her hair and rushed outside smiling. Baby, you are back so fast. But she stopped immediately after seeing Kelvin's serious face. Who is Emeka? Kelvin asked coldly. Blessing's heart skipped instantly. Still, she forced a fake laugh. Emeka, I don't know anybody. Before she could finish talking, the passenger door opened and Emeka stepped out of the car. The moment Blessing saw him, her body went weak. Her face lost color immediately. Emeka! She began trembling. Kelvin looked at her with disappointment. So this is the man that suffered for you? The man that trained you in school? The same man you denied? Blessing quickly fell to her knees. Please, Kelvin, please let me explain. She turned toward Emeka, crying heavily. I'm sorry, I was confused. Please forgive me. But Emeka remained silent. All the pain, suffering, and betrayal replayed in his mind. Kelvin shook his head slowly. If you can betray someone who sacrificed everything for you, then you can betray anybody. Blessing cried harder and held Kelvin's leg. Please don't leave me. But Kelvin gently removed her hand. I can't build my future with someone who forgets the people that helped her. Then he turned to Emeka. Guy, enter the car. Blessing watched in shock as Kelvin chose his old best friend over her. As the car drove away, she stood there crying helplessly, realizing she had lost two good men because of greed, pride, and betrayal. Meanwhile, inside the car, Kelvin looked at Emeka and smiled. No worry, my brother. From today, we go face life together again. And for the first time in years, Emeka finally smiled peacefully.